Hey everybody, welcome to Jerry's Live. As always, I'm your host, Amy Gardner-Dean, and today we've got episode JL162. It's the first installment of a topic that we'll hit, I think, in September, and we actually may have more products by October. But this is a new product sampler of things that maybe you haven't seen that Jerry's has. So it's all sorts of new products that are our brand names or from brands that are our house brands like Fabriano. So we thought just while my hand's out of commission for a little while, this would be an episode that we could do to kind of let you see what exciting goodies there are around here. So I'm going to preface on that note, if you can't hear the thunder, we are having a massive, a little bit scary electrical storm right now. With some very heavy rain. So if for some reason it starts to get loud, I'll try to talk louder. If for some reason you lose us, if the power cuts out or something, we will try to get back on in that event. But it's just so you know, there is a small possibility we may have issues. So, but we will keep on rolling and play like that's not going to happen. So anyway, we can get started on this. Now, if you haven't seen a lot of our episodes, or maybe you're somebody that doesn't always catch the beginning of it, we have a keyword on our website that you can find any of these products that we feature for that day. If it's a demo, if it's a show like this, that it's new products. With this show, you're going to go to the jerrysartarama.com website. You will type in that search box JL162. That's JL162. Hit enter. That will bring you to the cart that shows all of these products, so you can see what they're about and click on them to go to the actual product pages to learn more. Okie doke. So we've got a host of different types of things here. Some in the drawing section, some painting things, some that are tools that can help get that last little bit of paint out of your tube. We've got a watercolor set, some planer umbrellas, and some new kind of exciting things in colored pencils and watercolor pencils. So let's just go ahead and get started with this because we want to cover everything, and maybe a little bit of it we can demo some of. So I'm going to just start with kind of what's closer and work my way out. A new set that we've got that's, if you've used pans before for watercolors, one of the things that's very annoying with them, especially some brands, is that you either have to mist your pan. I know, it's getting loud, it's getting close. Or you have to really scrub when you get them wetted down with a brush. The color does not come up very quickly. It's almost like you've got to do a little bit of pre-work to work, right? So Soho Urban Artist has come out with a new pan set that's called the Easy Lift Artist Semi-Moist Watercolors. Anytime a watercolor pan set says semi-moist, that means that it's already kind of primed. You don't have to do that misting and priming, getting it all ready ahead of time. It's already ready to work. So this is a kit that's still small enough for traveling, 36 pans. It's called Easy Lift because the color lifts easily off of the pans. It's perfect for travel, for like your studio, take to workshops, even classrooms with kids. The top comes off it completely, so it makes it easier to use. Then you can set this as a mixing surface anywhere. It's got 3 nice big wells, which is helpful. Now, I will say, in having used these, it's great. This is like a little thing that kind of is great for shipping. I would keep it because it keeps those pans nice and tight in the bottom of the base so that they're held down nice and flat. In case you've got some stuff up here that's still a little tacky, hasn't dried, it'll just keep this clean. It'll keep your pans nice and neat in the bottom of the tray for working with. But let's take a look at some of the colors, because like a set of 36, or I guess unlike most sets of 36, this has some fluorescent colors. This has some pearl and kind of almost, I guess, iridescent colors. So what I'm going to do is I've got just a thing here. Got some Artistico. It is doesn't say. It looks like cold press. So yep, cold press. Okay, cotton paper. We're going to go ahead and can you show me what the above is, because I want to make sure they can see the set with the paper. Perfect. That works beautifully. All right. So what do we have here? Okay. So I've got a brush and I'm just going to just wet a random color. Not sure. Ooh, that's green. That's how easily you can, I went basically 1-2 over it, didn't even kind of what I call dredging with watercolors, didn't even really dredge down into that. And that easily you can pull up color. It's got some nice, let's see what the fluorescent blue looks like. It's got some nice fluorescence in there. Wow, is it raining? I feel like we may need a boat. Wow, look how bright that is. Nice bright fluorescence. Got some, let's show this. These are beautiful, the metallics. And usually metallics you really have to dredge, or the iridescence in a pan set. That's got some pop. And this isn't even a brush that you can dredge with. You can see that metallic in there. It's like a metallic copper. Just super easy. Nice big. They're more than a whole pan. I think they're like a pan and a half amount. They're gigantic.
Are these considered student grade or artist grade or?
I think they're just I don't think they're necessarily a professional grade. They're just kind of a good artist grade, not student, not professional. That's got a multitude of colors, especially if you do a lot of projects, you do ever use stuff like that for any signs. You've got those fluorescents for some brighter color. The fluorescents and the metallics work great on black watercolor paper. So it's in my office. I'm sorry, I was doing a color chart earlier and I think I took it in my office. So it's just an easy way to take a lot of color with you. 36 is, a very sizable pan set. Kind of anywhere that you want to go easily to pull up, nice bright color with very little effort of wetting. So, oh, she's got the black paper. All right, let me move this.
Are you out of swatch?
Oh. Was it these, really?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, okay. So, that's cool. Okay, so they had swatched these for some sort of filming in here. These are these colors right here, which is awesome. Let's see if we can't get that fluorescent orange on there to, yeah. So you can see that how quick that fluorescent, even in a watercolor where it's less saturated than like an acrylic wash or something, with very little, just a couple swipes of the brush, you can see that on black watercolor paper. So really cool little set. Thank you. I'm glad that we had that, because that's a big deal that you can see that easily.
They're amazing especially for the price.
Yeah, the prices, I think I printed out what the current prices are. It's a $23.99. That's the price on the website right now. So for less than $25, you can have 36 colors in a tin that's very easy to take places with you, that has a ton of mixing area for a pan set. And it gives you quick color pretty much anywhere. So that's one of the new products from Jerry's Artarama.
Any idea what the binder is in that keeps them semi-moist?
It's just going to probably be, I don't know, because that's not something that, it's probably going to be something like a humectant like honey. Mm-hmm. That's typically when you've got watercolor brands that are where you can lift them very quickly, and they're semi-moist. Typically honey is is added to, to it to be able to wet quickly. So, and sometimes a little bit more of the gum arabic too can also make it wet nice and quick, which is something you don't get a lot of in student colors, and that's why they're so dull and kind of dry and matte looking, and why you have to scrub them a lot. So I'm going to leave that brush there because I don't remember if I'm going to need something else. Okay. That's really loud. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the next item on the list is something we've used in a couple of our pastel classes, where we had the little kit that was under, I think it was $22 or something like that, which was the Fabriano colored drawing paper. Everybody knows the Canson My Teens. Fabriano makes a paper called Tiziano, and it's got there's a bunch of different colors. If you look on the website, they've got the big pieces. Just like most companies, though, for that you have to buy them in a pack, right, of that color. Or sometimes you have to buy, 10 sheets of whatever. But knowing what colors you like in an inexpensive sampler pack before you actually have to go in whole hog to buy more, larger sheets, is a really great way to do it. And these are for 12 sheets of 9.5 by 12.5 inch paper. It's $3.99. So if you do pastels, if you do colored pencil, and the reason we've used this on the show is it's giving you, for one lesson, it's giving you the set and a whole bunch of colors of paper. If you can show this, I mean, it's giving you lots of colors to be able to choose from. And we've talked about before, I feel like there's one under that, yep. How to kind of hold it up to your subject matter to see kind of what has a color that's it's either going to work with really nicely or something that's really going to be a very strong contrast to kind of give it some bump and some electricity. Lots of very nice bright colors, some kind of softer neutrals, and some kind of fun stuff in between. So that's got 12 sheets of paper for you to be able to do most any project with, that you can frame down to or mat down to like an 8 by 10 image size. So 12 artworks right there. Now, it's also a great way of knowing if you want to buy paper, determining what's going to work best with maybe a color palette you typically go with, because if you missed our pastels class, and maybe the girls can give the link if that's something that people are interested in, that, or you didn't miss the class, that something like a pink, looks one way on this, looks another way on this, looks another way on this, looks another way on this. And the same for darker colors, you've got the blue is going to pop. Maybe it looks very different on this. It looks very different on this. Looks very different on this. So this is giving you the ability to kind of find what colors really complement a specific palette you might use. And even if that if you work smaller or you like to do color study smaller, you can even cut these apart and do, your whole kind of color chart on each of the pieces to know what's going to work best for you. So $4, 12 sheets of paper for artworks. It's a really awesome deal. So that's the Fabriano colored drawing paper, and these are 160 grams, so 98-pound paper, and I think they're 25% cotton as well. So nice archival color fixed paper. Are there any questions about that before we move on to and we've shown it a lot of times. It's, drawing, sketching, pastels, marker, ink, gouache, crafts, anything your little creative heart desires.
Somebody did ask if you could use watercolor pencils with those. Is it not heavy enough for watercolor pencils? What she's asked is, could you use watercolor pencils, right? Okay. So
you could use watercolor pencils theoretically on this. What you need to understand though is wet medium, where it's a wetter medium like watercolor as opposed to like an acrylic gouache that's thicker, that's going to sit more on top, is that paper is designed more as a drawing paper. It's not sized for wet media. Okay, so if you're doing watercolor pencil and you've got, you know, a very, not like a big thirsty brush like a quill brush, you've got something that's smaller, you're doing more of a dry brush technique, that's probably going to be all right for that. You may want to tape it down just to help, but you're going to want to add water incredibly sparingly. So if you're not sure what a dry brush technique means, I would say this is not the paper for you to be using a wet media on, okay? So that's something that you could always go with, even like a tinted, I don't know, you could pre-tint it, a watercolor paper with watercolor and then use watercolor pencils on it instead, because that's going to be sized for your water medium. Okay?
If you use like a ground on that paper?
You've already got a ground on that paper. I mean, that's, okay, so what that paper is designed for is it's designed to already be your ground. Like when we did the, is the tomato over there where you could pull it over? I want to say it's like right over there somewhere. Okay, maybe it's not. I thought it was up higher or something. That's fine. A ground is you're using one color to base your artwork off of, okay? So you don't need to paint a ground on something when it's already one color. If it's not the right color, just you pick a different color sheet. It's okay. It's probably gotten moved.
Yeah, I don't see it.
That's fine. They can go back and look at the pastels episode, or soft pastel. Oh, there you go. Ta-da! She did it. Okay.
Ooh.
Now she's got pastel in her.
Orange
It's the curse of pastels. Okay, so this was one that we did with the Tiziano paper. It's red. Okay, redder than those tomatoes. We used the oranges and stuff over them. So that would be using a red colored ground to do your artwork on. All right, so that's what a ground means. Is it a single even color that then you're doing your artwork off of. So if you were to ask what the ground is in this is black and white charcoal. The ground is a gray paper, okay? You can see it through the sides where the gray, you know, the gray color is. That's the straight paper. So just pick a different color. There's plenty of different colors out there. I can't even see where your big finger was on there. All right.
I got a whole chunk of it, so.
She was like, ah! All right. So in our show last week, and if you didn't join us for that, we did watercolor postcards. This is a new set for us, the Reflections. It's 140-pound watercolor paper made into postcards with these really beautiful round edges. There's 24 in the tin, so it's nice and durable. It's not going to get crunched when you travel. Nice and rounded. So it's not, you know, sharp edges that are going to catch on anything. Already pre-populated with your address lines, ready to go. And this, you can either get it just as this tin itself, or you can get it with the tin and a 25 bag pack of crystal seal bags. Now, what does that do for you? We talked about that on the show last week, in that you can, it's a bag that basically seals your artwork, so you could seal it in that bag for carrying if you're like on a trip and you don't want your, you know, your artwork to get dusty or dirty. You can seal them and then put them in something to keep them clean, or you can put it in this with the address on the back. It's clear so you can see through it. Add one of those sticky forever stamps to the outside and stick it in the mail. When it gets to its destination, they have an artwork they can still frame that doesn't have all the dust, dirt, grime from every post office between where you put it in the box and their post office box or, you know, mailbox. So it's a great way of protecting artwork so somebody can actually do something with it if they really love it. Then you don't have to use fixatives and carry that with you on a trip, and you don't have to use this, that, or the other thing, right? So it's kind of a 2-for-1 set. You can get it with both, or you can just get the postcards themselves. So 140-pound paper. It's got, I believe, a 25% cotton content, internal and external sizing. So it's watercolor paper ready to go, but in a postcard format. Okay, and we had lots of fun with that. Did our color charts on it, did some mixing. I mean, I didn't take this down, and you could very easily just kind of fold and straighten that, and it's ready to go. Alrighty. Are there any questions about those? Probably not, because we've shown them, I think, and we did some of the art at home, I think, even with them, with the car, I think, right? Okay. So, and that price for the tin and the crystal seal bags is $14. So, so it's a great deal for 24 pieces of art. Next is something that, you know, more and more people are doing mixed media, but this is something that can work. Is it flooding in the door? It is. We're gonna need a boat to go home. This is the Soho Airtight Mixed Media Palette. You can use it with oils, you can use it with acrylics, you can use it with watercolors. I would strongly suggest, especially for the price point on it, they're $11.59. Get one for all of your medium rather than one that you're gonna clean and keep switching back and forth. These are really handy. I use them a lot here because I'm always doing artwork for Jerry's. So it's a great way of keeping it when I get called to a meeting and I have to just run. Acrylics will stay, you know, nice and moist in it so I can come back to it. Oils won't get dust or dirt if I'm gonna take them places, go back and forth from home to work. It's not gonna flip over in my car and have oil paint or acrylic paint or anything everywhere. Got very durable little clasps that grip, a nice seal, and the inside of that lid, extra mixing area also in the lid. Then it's got wells everywhere, so you can see all those wells, you can put all of your paint in it, and then you've got this great mixing area in the middle. Now if you're doing watercolor acrylic, you can wet this little sponge out, kind of wring out the excess, have it in there. It'll keep it nice and humid so that it won't dry out. If you use it for acrylic, every couple days open it up and mist it with your Soho spray bottle just to keep it nice and moist. And it'll help you save a lot of color. I mean, for $11.59, it's going to save you a lot just on not losing, you know, acrylic or paints when you've got them out and you get called away, a phone call, or have to go make dinner or whatever and come back and they're not usable anymore. Great, easy way to keep those safe and sound and ready to use again. So that's the Soho Airtight Mixed Media Palette. Mixed media means you could use it, put some acrylics over here, some watercolors over here. The wells are even deep enough to put a little bit of inks. So, nice little palette. All right. Well, I'm not sure where to put it all because I'm gonna need to grab some of the stuff back there, so I don't want to set it on it. Because now that we use those watercolors, my brilliant idea was to do this first. We're gonna use a new product called Aqualift Paint Eraser Sponge Set. There's 7 little sponges that come in this. And the first thing you're gonna say is, hey, wow, that looks like a certain bald guy's cleaning eraser. I mean, can we say, ladies, if you have to scrub your shower, you probably know what this is. It's the bane of your existence. Well, these for watercolor are not gonna be the bane of your existence. These do not have the in-cleaning ones for your house. They do impregnate it with a little bit of a cleaning solution that helps kind of keep it damp, keep it moist, helps get the grit and grime off. These are just the sponge itself. They don't have any of that other stuff in it. So we can take our watercolor that we did a little bit ago that's been sitting here drying. Now some of these colors, of course, I picked granulating colors. They're getting a bucket and they're bailing it out like we're a boat and we're sinking. No, it's not that bad, but it is bad. They're trying to stop water from coming in the door. It's like a frog strangler, you know? All right, so I'm wetting this down, squeezing out the excess water, and I'm gonna use this to actually lift. Can you switch to the, oh, when she comes back, she'll switch to the,
Sorry.
It's a comedy bears. I just want them to be able to see this. Okay. So this was moistened. Look how that lifted that. It's so cool. You can kind of dab it and clean it up. Now that was a staining color, right? So with other colors, especially earth tones and things like that, we can take it through this gold. The gold was still somewhat damp, but I just took that whole line right out. You could use it to, let's say you're on this blue edge. Your edge is rough, you need it to be softened. I can just go on it. I'm just going to take this whole edge out. Look how easy that is. So rather than either trying to wet your brush down, over wetting it, getting excess water on there that you don't want, it gives you these awesome little controlled angles for the sponges. Like the cleaning erasers, they eventually, with kind of scrubbing and wear and tear, will start to break down. You can use them until they're done, and then you can get more. The set of 7 erasers of different sizes is only $4.99. So even if you are a watercolorist that are constantly working in your studio, these will last you a really good while. And I mean, it's just, it's amazing what they will do. I mean, it's even taken the fluorescent pigment up on it. So that's a great product that if you do any water media, like watercolors, that can really save a picture and help you kind of do some things. You could probably even use them for stamping and stuff like that. Just rinse the color out really good before you take it to clean something else so you don't get that color transfer. All right, so those are called the Aqualift Paint Eraser Sponges. And they really do that. And if you're curious about seeing more examples of what it can do up close, I know we did do a product video on it because I believe that I was probably involved in the product video because I remember it. You can see a short video of what exactly that can do with all sorts of different colors. We did a bunch of different stuff. I think we even trimmed some shapes out that we had drawn in it as well. So, all right. So, this is going to be fun with my fingers. I appreciate everybody that like jumped on the bandwagon about wishing me well with my fingers. Thankfully, we don't have any severed or torn tendons. Instead, they're just horribly sprained and still swollen. So it's something where I just have to keep it wrapped for a few weeks, and then we can do a little bit of physical therapy and should be good as new. Cross fingers with this hand. So, so if you don't have the hand strength like I currently don't, for paint tubes, acrylic or oil, or I mean even some of the bigger watercolor tubes can be kind of a pain. We've got two tube ringing products that might be of use to you. One is called the Tube Twister Keys by Creative Mark. They come in a 6-pack. I think you can get them in even larger denominations, so that if you know that you've got an issue with getting paint out of the tubes, you could even, and they're very inexpensive. This is $3.29 for 6 of them. I think as you go up in bulk, they get way even better price point. You can just keep them on tubes rather than having to pull them on and off. And I should have had Will open these for me. So there's these, and then we've got the Big Squeeze, which we'll look at in a minute. I brought a bunch of tubes to see kind of what this will work with. So with these, there is a groove right along here, like little jagged edgy teeth. It's only on one side. Sure, that'll be helpful. It's only on one side. You can see it right there. So it's not going to be confusing as to where it needs to be. So all you have to do with that is slide that. See how we've got it started into those teeth? Slide it in until it's in there, see? Then, thankfully this is acrylic and not oil. I would not have been able to get that open. Then all you're going to do is slowly twist. And yes, these are so you don't waste paint, but we do have to waste a little bit of paint to show you on the show. So it's okay we can get more. So look how easy that comes out. Super, super easy, right? So brand new tube, you can get a lot of paint out really easy. And as you can see, it can stay right on there. It's nice and flat in the parts that I've twisted it on, and slowly squeeze that tube of paint out. Or tubes that you've got where they're, I was surprised that we really didn't have a lot of tubes that were low, because we go through paint pretty well. I searched for a while and was like, okay, well, you can see right there how that squeezed that part out. Then, and these will work on, you know, big ones, small ones, as long as it's the bottom of the thing comes across it, it will work on those. With this little kind of crimp in it, I don't think they'll work on the plastic ones, but I do know this great big giant one will work on the plastic ones. So let's open up the big squeeze tube squeezer. It comes in 2 colors, but you know, why not go for orange? Because if you're in a colored studio, orange stands out. And if you're like me, you can walk in and not use cadmium orange, and for some reason it's on you. So it's already the color that you know you're gonna get anyway. So, so see, this will even work with these great big ones. So let's, yep, so I think this still has the, woo.
Do you want me to see if we have
Yeah, you know what, I think that this one will work. No, not with my nails, I'm not gonna get that off. We'll show it with this one while we're working on it. Okay, so we've got a raw umber, squeezing it in there very easily. Wow. Okay, trying to get this in that. So I'm not right-handed, and I am it's very easy to twist that, and look how much paint you can get out. Super easy. And then look, so there is no paint that's going to be left in that. So that's really easy to do. I can't even believe how easy that is with my right hand, which is, I'm left-handed.
Somebody asked, what color did you just waste?
Raw umber.
What was the,
because if you're like me, you don't really use it. So this was a quinacridone magenta, which now I'm sad because that's okay.
It's okay.
It's all in the name of science.
Palette.
Science, huh?
Scrape it into the
Right. So, oh, and she got this big one. Okay, so let's see how easy it is with, oh, that's good because this is already kind of, I'm going to stand up here. All right. Wow, that works really easy on that.
Yeah, I love
Oh, and it feeds it, look, it feeds out the side.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
That's
okay.
Cool.
I just want one to play with it now.
Careful when you just stuck the end of that in the other
Did I?
box,
Of course I did. Okay, look at how there was not very much paint in this tube. All right, there we go. That's horribly gratifying.
Woo.
It really is. So look at that. I'm gonna cap this so we don't. Okay, so look at how flat that gets it.
I love that it works on a plastic tube.
There are very few that work on plastic tubes, and you can sometimes use these keys on them, but they just don't. It like squishes back up. That actually is getting that out really easily. You can see the little kind of crimp marks on the thing here. So that is $34.95, but that's, I mean, imagine that, I mean, this is made in the US, #1, which is really awesome. It's metal. This is very ergonomic and easy to twist. So if my arthritic hands can manage that with one being taped up as well, that's something that pretty much anybody should be able to do. So there's ways to get all that last paint out quite easily. All right. And now I've got raw umber on me, which is, how I didn't get the orange on, I don't know. Good thing there's an apron here.
Got plenty of paper towels.
All right. So then, I feel like I'm at a news desk. Okay. All right. So There have not been a lot, and I'm just going to say this as a plein air painter because it's like one of the most annoying things, and I don't really sunburn, so I'm not always as worried about an umbrella, but there's certain times of the year, no matter probably where you paint, unless you're going to actually have to use it as an umbrella, that you really do need to have the glare taken off of your work surface, right? It's not so much about protecting you as a sunshade, it's about if the sun isn't directly on your work, your paint's not going to start tacking up as fast, so it'll be easier to layer. It keeps that glare from making it very difficult for you to see. And the biggest problem has been that I've found how the heck you're transporting these umbrellas places, because the one I have, I swear, is the size of Nevada. It is the biggest pain in the butt to use to take out places. So when these came in, I was like, what? This little tiny umbrella has, got a UV sunscreen in it. It has two pieces so that you've got your base that's got, you know, kind of an accordion crook neck. It can loosen up. It can go on your tripod. You can clip on the tripod. And we've got a video on this page as well, because I remember us doing that, because that's how we figured out it fits in a French easel. And you can close it. And either you can put it down in the basement part of your French easel, where those kind of secret compartments are that nobody really realizes they have. You pull the drawer out and there's these two deep compartments, one on each side, that you can always put extra brushes to make your box like 30 pounds heavier, is what I do. Or you can put a lighter umbrella under there that has a sunshade. I'm gonna open it up inside because I figure we've already got bad luck with our flooding and everything else. We may actually need the umbrella. So all that little guy turns into this. It's actually pretty wide. It's got a gusset to it. So if you get big gusts of wind, it's not going to go taking off. It's like the baffles that they put in golf umbrellas, so that it's waterproof coming down, but there's that venting so that it can vent. This keeps all of the UV rays from coming into your artwork. It's metal instead of plastic ribbing, so it's going to be a lot more durable, and it can clamp and, you know, fit kind of anywhere on your easel. It's super adjustable, but it can go in your painting box or be broken down and put in if you've got a backpack, if you carry like a boat tote or something like that. So it's a great little umbrella that is, you know, can really help block that sun and that glare and offer some UV protection even for you, depending on what angle that you put it at. So it's really handy. And, you know, it's less than $55. So that's something that's usually an issue as well, is that painting umbrellas are usually very expensive. So super handy, breaks down easily. The Soho Urban Artist UV Sunscreen Umbrella. And it's waterproof. So ta-da. And then it's got the little sleeve that you can put back on it. So I'm going to put this down here. Hopefully I've not got any raw umber on it, or raw sienna. Okay. Now, a little bit kind of larger cousin that just doesn't have that ability to break down like that, is small. But, you know, if you're, say you've got a beach house or a cabin or something like that, where you're not gonna, you know, have to be taking this in a car and, you know, walking further places, it's a nice big, should have had Will in his long arms pull this out. So this is the Deluxe Outdoor Painting Umbrella. Has a really fantastic big gooseneck. So you can put this on up to a very sizable, you know, you could do a deck railing or, you know, out at a boat launch or something. Lots of, and I just realized that camera is there and I just about poked it.
Oh.
Well.
Should have been on the other.
I know, right? So that can adjust to all sorts of depths for decks or tables or picnic tables or whatever. Now this doesn't have that silvery kind of sun protection, but what it does do is it's white, so in lower light situations it can still kind of help diffuse the light, but it's not direct. And it's nice and big. This one's even bigger, which today could double as an umbrella to run to the car with all of your things. Metal, again, metal spines. It's nice and durable. It feels like a decent heavy duty, more like a golf umbrella style. So that gets you a lot higher reach than the other one. And again, it's that portability of the extra large kind of footprint for it. I scared you, didn't I? Yeah, I scared him.
30 seconds delay too.
Oh, he just saw it and came running out here. Maybe he's gonna kill the camera. I promise I'm not, Will.
On purpose anyway.
Yeah, not on purpose anyway. So that is kind of a little bit different solution to the same problem. For space, that doesn't necessarily help, but for an even larger area that can be put on a multitude of thicknesses, this is a fantastic umbrella. Both the same price, $54.29. So, so that is a new plein air painting umbrella that we've got as well. All right. I feel like this is, I don't know what I would do with that, but it's kind of a cool shape. All right. For drawing, and I just realized we have not done an episode on this, so it's something we ought to do. Drawing with charcoal and graphite powder, right? So a lot of illustrators will, and we talked about toned grounds. You can do a toned ground for graphite or charcoal drawings with powder. And let me take one of these pieces. Soho has these great little sets where instead of, buying a whole jar, like those jars are big and they will last way too long. So you're putting in way too much investment in something you will never use, because it's like a dab will do ya, right? A little goes a long way with these powder products. The set has charcoal powder and graphite powder and 2 small stomps. So you can use those. What I've found actually works even better. It works great if you're like using a drawing and you need that as a drawing tool. These hake brushes work fantastic for spreading the powder. So I'm going to try to do this without getting it everywhere, Katie. We'll show with the graphite powder.
Good luck with that.
Okay, so you can see that's a lot of powder. You just need to tap a little bit out. I'm going to do it super slow. Make sure that's back on there. You don't want to smear it with your fingers. You don't want that extra oil on there with your hand. You just take that brush. You always get that little bit of dusting that pops up, which is really fun to see. If you work it in circles, you won't see after a while. And this is on watercolor paper, so this has a little more tooth than I would probably use. I'd probably do it on illustration board or a hot press paper to not have kind of the tooth with the brushing and the powder. But look what a nice kind of toned ground that makes. It gives me the ability to have almost a, kind of a 42 maybe to 50% value surface to start my drawing on. What you can do first is actually you can lift up your highlights with either just like an eraser, like we've got the vanish erasers. You can even use the stick erasers that have a little cartridge that's in it that functions almost like a pencil. And then you can do your drawing from there with your darks with, if you've got graphite pencils, if you've got the charcoal powder with charcoal pencils. And we'll do a show on it and we'll talk about it. But I think on the page is the cockatoo that we did, where it's like a quick start to finish. So you can see an artwork actually done with this technique. But it's a great way to get a nice gray value to start a drawing on with the actual medium that you're using. So, and those are super duper inexpensive. $5.99 for 2 of them, and that powder will last you a super long time, even if you're doing like giant drawings, because just a little bit will go a really long way for that. So we'll try to maybe in September do a show and do like a start to finish drawing with that. Okay, now we've shown them on another show when we talked about panels, but it's a new product, and if you missed that one, you didn't know about it, so it's in your best interest too. The Da Vinci dual-sided Pro panels. Panels are great to work on, canvas panels and things like that. The biggest issue with them is there can be issues with warping. They can, they're not as thick as they could be with the substrate underneath, and you can have a lot of problems. If you're like me and you tend to torque your easel down, you can get some warpage with that hopefully will come out when you actually frame the piece. But these are this is a 2-pack. These are 8x10. They are a 1/4 inch, so they're like much thicker than the average panel, which is even the hardboard panels usually are only about 1/8 of an inch. So it's giving you double the thickness, so that it's much stronger. It's not like other brands where you can take it and you can already kind of move it. It's got a ultra smooth side and it's got a medium textured side. So the ultra smooth side, I'm just going to show this one, Katie, if you can focus in from above. The ultra smooth side is perfect for pencil, for technical pens, for any type of dry medium where you want to get something super tight. You can use inks on this. I mean, egg tempera, if you do any trompe l'oeil work where you want it to look, absolutely, picture perfect. You need that smoothness to be able to kind of trick the eye into thinking that it's, a picture. That side is the one that you want to use. It just can give you some really amazing detail. That's a graphite pencil drawing. So the textured side, that's got a medium texture, it's good for paints that you need to have some tooth. The smooth side is maybe a little too smooth for some things where it could kind of pull off. The medium texture is perfect for oils, oil pastels, crayons, colored pencils, soft pastels, just kind of anything that you want a little bit of tooth to grab on, just because there's that slight textured surface that will really grab and hold something where you won't have your kind of layers delaminate off of it. This is oil pastel. This is just Mungio Soft, the extra soft oil pastel. So there's enough, texture to really grab onto layers and layers. Some of these have 6, 7 layers of color in it, and it's really easy to get that to grab on. So besides these being a really great value, they're kind of multi-purpose. If you've got a very small studio and you don't have a lot of room to store work, think about how many stretched canvases, how much room stretched canvases take up, even how many rooms panels take up. This gives you 2 artwork surfaces potentially, especially while you're learning, where you may not always want to frame everything and keep everything or sell everything, but you need those painting surfaces to learn and grow. Ideal for that. Even just for storage, all you have to do with them is just stand them on end, right? So you can get a lot more of these in the same area that you can get a stretched canvas in. So those are the Da Vinci dual-sided Pro panels. This size for the 2-pack is $7.19 for 4 work surfaces. Okay, so what a really inexpensive, probably not archival, student grade surface would be. You're getting 4 artworks on, an archival surface. So those are extra handy and fun, and I was so excited by how the pencil took on these, Katie. I had never drawn on a smooth gesso surface. It was just amazing, the detail you could get. So
it's so smooth.
yes, I was very, transfixed by it a little bit. Okay, so everybody has probably over time become familiar with our Cezanne colored pencils. It used to be you could only get a set of 72, which was still a lot of color. And it was a set of 72. There was nothing smaller, nothing larger. Now you can get the Superior Artist colored pencils in as small as a set of 24 in this cute little travel set like we use with their watercolor pencils. Can you show it from above so they can see it's like a little wallet. It opens up. You've got your pencils in there. They're numbered. So you've got your number, and then you've got a legend down here. So even if you get them kind of scattered all over, you know how to put them back. So bright, very, good, sharp, clean color. It is a wax base, but it's not so much wax like most brands where it's going to give you that kind of sheen problem with as you layer more and more and more. So it's a very, I don't know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a little bit an application of the Caran d'Ache. It's not so waxy as like the Prismacolor and things like that, but it's got very similar handling characteristics to Prismacolor, just without that wax bloom. So super easy to just put back in there. Fits in a purse to carry along. And the set of the 24, is that right? With my reading glasses, it's $8.69 for 24 pencils.
Love it.
Well, because it's in the little, it's in a little kind of a cardboard display sleeve, so that helps you save some money, but still get lots of color. Now they've gone to the set of 120. So it's got that nice, super, durable tin that the old one had for 72, 3.3 millimeter leads. So it's a nice, super wide lead. The hardwood casings are very, strong and durable, so you're not going to get the breakage issues. It's bonded inside the lead, which means it's actually glued inside. So even if you do drop your pencils and they break inside, they're not going to come falling out constantly as you sharpen. It's going to stay in the area that it's in so that you can still keep using the pencil lead. So 3 trays. I'm gonna do this. They're triple coated barrels. They're color coded. So you've got the color. Yeah, that was squeaky. Sorry about that. So you've got the color of the pencil on the barrel, so it's easy to find and locate. Nice, clean sharpening, clean color. It's got the cools and warm grays. It's just a really beautiful set. And how often do you find that many nice violet and pink tones? Those are always the ones that are really hard to find, as well as these neutrals. This is something that that from other brands, and we talk about this when we do colored pencil shows. I've got a background in illustration. I wanted to be a medical or biological illustrator, so I was trained in using colored pencils for illustration. The biggest thing is that, kind of like pastels, you can't make the color over here like a paint and then apply it. You can layer colors together to get close, but it's not the same. This set has so many kind of the values of the color ranges. So you've got greens, but you've got really light greens. You've got really dark greens. A lot of colored pencils, they're all kind of a mid-tone. You might get a few darks. You generally don't get any lighter colors. So that's what makes this brand really unique in that aspect, is that instead of, having to be 150 pencils to even kind of start touching on those lighter colors, they've done that in the color range in 120. So, and this set right now is $44.99 for 120 pencils.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, because we've just brought them in this, so I don't know what, I think I'm assuming that's on sale right now, because I would think it would be more in the $60 to $70 range, but that's the price that it is right now because I did print them out. So, and we've used it on the show before. I think we've used the set of 72. This is just the expanded set. So, so those are the Creative Mark Cezanne colored pencils. It's got the legend in the lid as well there, so you can quick find it If you've got your trays out, you can see what color you need and know what color to grab. All right. And then we used last week the professional watercolor pencils by Cezanne. Same little adorable kind of wallet set. It does come with actually a very nice quality gold Taklon brush. It's very easy to get super fine detail, but also do some washes. We did the postcard paper, just the reflections that we showed. So that little brush was enough to do the entire postcard, even with washes. Lots of pretty bright color. So it's a great little value, especially if you're going to travel. $11.99 for a set of 24 that, you know, and these are watercolors. So we talked about how you could actually color on the side on some paper and layer colors and then actually mix them, wet it and mix them that way. How you can actually touch the brush to it, pick up the color saturated right off the tip. You can wet them and then put them down, or wet the paper. My biggest thing with that is that can sometimes be unpredictable. Some areas will be too wet, some areas will be too dry, so that can start becoming hard to manage. But through some of those different techniques, you can do pretty much anything with these. And it's a very good color range. And being watercolor, color lightly, the color is paler, color super heavy, and then the color is super thick, super vibrant, instead of a lighter wash. So those are the Cezanne Premium Watercolor Pencils, a set of 24 with the brush. And that was the, back here somewhere, what we did these, if you missed it, these cute little, we did a paint along, cute little postcards, did our legend of the colors, so we've got a color chart and everything. Handy little set. Are there any questions? I think that is the end of our new products, which we're gonna have to have probably 2 more. Oh no, we've got 1 more. But wait, there's more. Okay, so we've done a printmaking episode, but unfortunately it was when we were at home. If you saw that episode though, you know that I've got a printmaking background as well from college. And for water-based inks, it's really hard to find something super great quality, something that's nice, thick, hard black, but isn't like too gooey where it's going to run in the grooves of your linoleum block or woodcut or whatever. This new Studio Linole ink from Lucas in Germany is the nicest water-based ink I've ever used. And they come in a whole bunch of colors, and we've got them. And go to that page through the cart, and you can see a sampling of a bunch of the different colors when we did the video. The colors are beautiful and vibrant. You can actually mix them together to make custom colors. So pretty much you're only inhibited by, I guess, a lack of imagination for what colors you could use. The ink is super beautiful on multiple types of paper. These are all high-end professional cotton printmaking papers. The registration is super clean. I mean, that's a black. Even on a slicker surface like this, the ink sat really well. Super black, super dark. Nice, clean. Even on the Speedball, kind of the pink eraser ones, sometimes the registration's not the best. This ink can do it all. It tacks up really easily. If you're a printmaker, you listen for that kind of sound. The llama's getting ready to spit sound, I call it. It just sounds like a llama going. It does that, and it's just a delightful ink. And the best part, if that wasn't enough, you don't even have to scrub it. You rinse the block, and it comes right off. It's fantastic. So definitely, if you're into printmaking, it's a product to look into. It doesn't have those gooey like paint tubes with the lids where it gets everywhere. It's got a very clean point applicator that the cap just pops right back down on. So I give it a 11 out of 10. It's a really nice ink. So definitely something to give a try if you've never used it. And the bottles are very inexpensive for, I mean, this will last you forever. 250 milliliter bottle. So that's 8.4 US fluid ounces. $7.87 for all that printmaking ink. Can't go wrong. So, all right. Well, next time we do the new products, we've got all sorts of other crazy stuff. I think we got brushes. We got.
Do you have one question?
Sure.
People were asking if those Aqualift sponges will work. Do they work on anything besides watercolor? They were specifically asking about like the watercolor pencil and the colored pencils and stuff like that. Or are they just? Is it more about the paper they're on?
Okay, so it's about it being a water medium because watercolor is designed to be applied and lifted, right? And it has to be paper that's sized for watercolor, right? For wet media. So because that paper is designed to not tear when it's got some scrubbing going on with that. So it's going to have to be used with watercolor paper. It is going to have to be used with watercolor because watercolor is, you know, a waterborne pigment or paint based that's pigment suspended, right? So it's not going to work with things that are dyes because that's really going to soak into the paper differently. I mean, you might be able to lighten those, but it's got to be water based so it comes up. It's not going to work with gouache. It's not going to work with colored pencils. That's where you want to use like your stick erasers or something like that if you're trying to pull stuff up from colored pencils. So think of it this way. It's called Aqualift. So it's going to be Aqua Media, right? Okay, so we've got winners from the contest. And there were, what, 380?
No, 589.
What?
I was wrong. 589.
Okay. It felt like it took that long to get through them. All sorts of different kind of eyes was the theme, and people went and ran with it. And I'm sorry, the hands down, if you've got to look at the contest because the hands down funniest one were these two little tiny painted eyes on a hand, so it looked like it was going to talk like that. It was very funny.
Clay. I think they sculpted them.
I don't know what they did, but that like
great.
gave us all the giggles here, and we talked about it all afternoon. So, so that was very fun. All right, so we've got. Oh, can I do it next week? No.
I know.
All right. Okay, so you've got them 3, 2, 1. Yes, you do. Okay. So out of all the amazing artwork, and there was just a ton, and there were some very beautiful ones and some very creative ones. It was very hard to choose. This is gorgeous. The colors on this, and then the creativity of the border. If you want to go down, that is simply stunning. It's Orissa Rudnick from Nashua, New Hampshire. That is third place, so you will receive a Jerry's Artarama e-gift card for this beautiful artwork. Those eyes were just, that color is so hard to get with hazel.
There's so many
Absolutely
colors in
nailed it. Yeah, absolutely nailed it. And then, but this board was really great with it too. It all matched really nicely. Number 2 is, second place is Cameron Hampton from Augusta, Georgia. We loved that took the eye theme, but then kind of, I mean, that look and then the body language and everything, and it looks like it's pastels. I wish we knew what it was, but that's just amazing. I think that right there sums up the whole COVID and being stuck at home. I love it. So, Cameron, you are second place for this contest. Number 1 is Jessica Leonard from Oneida, New York. The reflections in this just, I am in absolute awe. This is gorgeous. So beautifully done. And I like how these colors, you know, are so muted and soft. And then you've got all that action going on with the reflections. Very, very beautiful picture of a horse eye. That is the epitome of what that contest was about.
Yes.
So you are first place, and you will get the Big Mac Daddy of the e-gift cards from the group. So next week, we are doing the Dog Days of Summer. So show us your finest dog art. It can be humorous, it can be crazy, it can be serious. It just has to be dog related. So, and I'm very excited to see that because you know me and dogs. So, all dogs. I like dogs. All right, well, we don't have any more questions, right? Okay. So next week, we have in the house via Zoom the gentleman from Royal Talons USA. So Kyle Richardson and Jeff Olson will be back with us again. And this time they are going to be talking to us about their Amsterdam acrylics. They're going to do, I think, 2 projects. Jeff, can nail down some projects super fast and super good. One of them is going to be pouring painting. So everybody always wants to know when we're going to be doing pouring. So they're going to be featuring pouring with their pouring medium. And then the other one, I think, is pearl colors, which is really difficult to use if you've ever used them. And everybody buys them and then they're not really sure what to do with them. So, so he's going to be teaching us about pearl colored acrylics and kind of the right way to use them. So that should be not only entertaining because they're awesome guys, and fun, but very educational. I've learned something every time that we've had them on. So that will be next week. And I guess start working on that dog art. We want to see it. So you guys, everybody out there, take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.